In 2018, I started Murgs. It's a CrossFit and weightlifting brand, and I ran it for 5 years, then went full-time, and now I'm 3 years into running it full-time. This is just a brief summary of all the things I would change. If I was sat here right now with little John, age 22, starting out a new business, here are all the things I'd tell me, because it probably would have made a big impact on the end destination, or where we are now in this journey. Number 1, sleep is so much more important than you give it credit for when you're 22. Honestly, even now, I recognise massively about how a good night's sleep makes all the difference. It can be the difference between a great day's work and a terrible day's work, and the only factor that has changed is the sleep. That is it. To the point where now I don't drink alcohol. I do at events or weddings or parties, or if there's a purpose, fine. But through the week, having a beer or two, that's just a real fast-track way to ruin a night's sleep. And when I sleep well, I work well, and when I work well, I'm happy. I'm so much happier. Productivity is just something that clearly my purpose is to make progress towards the goals I've got. So sleep is just so important, and for many years, I've struggled with it. And I've got sleep apnea, and now I wear a CPAP, and there's a few other complexities, but I feel like I've got to a point now where I've got it dialed in. It doesn't help that I've got twins age 3. They like to wake me up at 4 in the morning sometimes. But other than that, get your sleep right, and it'll really help. Number 2, don't try forced growth. It's really hard to do. When I was starting out, I'd try and push things that I thought were right. I'd be like, here is what I am selling. You need to buy this. And I'd be attacking it in the wrong mindset. You need to serve your customers. You need to be giving them what they want or alerting them to what they need, but they don't know they need it. It's a strange way of putting it, but there's been times where I've gone really aggressive on Facebook ads. I've been like, right, we're going to scale this business. We're going to run some Facebook ads. And without the learning and the knowledge to back it up, I feel like I've wasted tens of thousands of pounds at Facebook. You just have. But at the same time, I'm like, that's part of the learning. But if I could start again, I'd be like, just be better. Be better and stop trying things that are new, John, please. Don't set up a TikTok account to then go on and run one TikTok ad, because it's just a waste of budget. If you're getting some results from somewhere, double down on it. Be an expert in a few places rather than have a very light knowledge of them all. Number 3, your suppliers can make a massive impact on how smooth your business works. You will find a supplier that makes a fantastic product, but discussing things with them, or their response times are poor, or they don't have good enough English, and there's loads of factors. It turns out having a factory that speak good English, that have good response times, that care about you as a buyer, leads to a better partnership, because they're happy to go out the way, they're happy to help, they're happy to do more. So don't just look at a company to purchase from or manufacture based on the product that they put out. Because even if the product's right, if the communication's hard, you won't want to do it. You won't want to dial in imperfections. It makes it just remove that headache. Now I've got a handful of suppliers that I can just send WhatsApps to. They know exactly what I want. I'm like, I want this. And I mean, recently I was like, I want these knee sleeves, and I want them now with a pink leopard print. And she's called Lisa. And Lisa was like, yeah, sure. All right. And then she sent me these over, and they were absolutely spot on. They're very good when you find the right people and stick with them. Same on that note. I see people often saying, oh, you need to negotiate for better prices at your suppliers and manufacturers. I get it. I do. You do want the best price available, but you don't want to squeeze them too hard to where they're like, wow, this is not really making much money for us. And this is not, it's not a good relationship. Just like you have to create a great relationship between you and your customers, you need to create a great relationship between you and your suppliers. I would rather pay you 50 pence more per pair of knee sleeves if I know that you're going to quality check them, you're going to look after them. I'm just not fussed for saving a few £100 to try and squeeze out a few more quid here and there. That's just my personal opinion. There's a lot of people that are like, no, drive the price down. Yeah, that's fine if you're selling cheap shite, but when you're trying to sell a really good premium product, you know what? Premium products cost a little bit more money, and that's just a fact. Number 4, and this is a strange one, and I've only learnt this recently. It's taken me over 8 years to figure this out. People love seeing the underdog story. And that's you as a small business. For years, I've said we at Murgs, we can do this. And I always put out this impression that Murgs was a bigger brand than it is, and it's more substantial and very professional in the way it deals with things. But in reality, in the last few weeks, I've started throwing up some content. That's at Murgs on Instagram, if you're interested. The reason I share the brand's not for promotion. It's just to show you what I'm actually doing. I want there to be a feedback loop for you to... There's too many people on YouTube that will tell you what works best, but they never show you, and it's not even certain whether they've done it. I show everything. That's part of the fun. So yeah, have a look on my Instagram, and it's just a bit more real life. It's a bit more of me. I put a post up the other day, and it was like the first time we broke 100 likes in years. And it was just me talking, saying, look, I'm having a really hard time at the minute. Business is not easy. Here's the behind the scenes. Look at the office. And it was a really nice, friendly video, and it went down a storm. So don't be afraid to be who you are, doing what you do. That's the biggest lesson that I've learned. The sooner you just get comfortable with it. It turns out there's not many, so that there's lots of arseholes on the internet. But in the community that I've got, because that's all I can speak about, people are interested in the success. They like the products. Clearly, they like the brand. Clearly, we stand for something that they agree with or line up with. And the support has been overwhelming. And at first, I come from a really optimistic place, but I'm very insecure and very self-conscious. Or at least I was in the past. Even now, I've been pacing around for 45 minutes, scratching my head, thinking, oh my God, what am I going to film? I don't know what to say. Is anyone going to take anything from this? Is it useful? And I just decided that no, that's not me anymore. I'm no, thank you. So sharing honestly and authentically is fantastic. And there's a really good reason. You don't have to remember anything. The amount of people on the internet that will tell tales and stories that are factually inaccurate or never happened, if you just share it how it is, that's just stored in the old memory bank. You can pull up things anytime, and I find that really easy. I mean, even these videos, I do not script these videos. Don't get me wrong. I wrote a few pointers down because I was just having a little think with, some of the key points, but these videos aren't scripted. No, I don't do that. I just try and give you me, like we're mates, because we are mates. Why aren't we? So yeah, just be yourself, because people like that weird version of you. And you'll sometimes look at yourself, or at least I did, and think, nah, I do that. And at first, a big self-conscious part of me was how I speak. Because I'm in West Yorkshire, and up here, a lot of people don't like this. And it's horrible, and I hate it. And sometimes I'm like, oh, God, I hope I don't sound like that. And then after a while, it's like, no, but that's who I am. That is me. And everyone who knows me and likes me for who I am. I'm this weird blend of ingredients, and you are too. That's the point. You are a weird blend of circumstances and experiences and people. You've had influences from people that only you have had that connection with. Literally. Like myself. There's my mum and dad, and then there's my wife's family and this and that, and no one's ever lived my life. They haven't. So I've got to give you my version of events because this is all I've got. But that is part of the fun, because people like watching stories from others. Every drama on television is just a story about somebody else's life. That's it. And when you think of it like that, you're like, oh yeah, this is just other people showing their life off to other people. When you take a step back, you're like, that is kind of weird that we're so invested in other people's goings on. Turns out we are. And be you and just show what's going on. Make the most out of what you have. There's been times when I've thought in the past that I'm like, right, this isn't working, or it could be better. I'll buy something new. I'll go out and I'll buy a new camera lens, and I come back and I'm like, right, I've got this telephoto lens now. I can do more things, and my content can be better. Is it any better? No, not at all. Like, it's not. Fair enough. There's a bare minimum for things that you need. But at the same time, I look at me now, it's very stupid. Like, do I need these headphones and these headphones? There's probably £200 worth of headphones here. Do I need both pairs? No, absolutely not. And so many times in my business career, I've squandered money on stupid things that I either talked myself into thinking, yeah, that's right, the business definitely needs more headphones. That's something that it really requires. But it's just... Make do with what you've got. I promise. You don't need much. I mean, this office, there's basically just a computer. There's kind of not much else. Like, all I need is a computer. And I'm great at going out and buying new mics and different setups and wireless versions. And I just wish I didn't, because the business would have more money. That's just a fact. You go around, you add up every piece of equipment or thing or every little silly tripod gimbal thing you've ever bought, and I weigh it up and think, don't do that. Don't buy a load of tat. You can buy a load of crap when you're making millions, but until then, save your money, really, because that is something that might be the most important thing I'd tell past me. I'd be like, stop squandering money, stop pissing it away, you idiot. But you only do what you do, don't you, right? So that's the whole point of this video. It's to try and, I don't know, make it clear the mistakes that might be ahead. And don't get me wrong, you'll watch this and be like, oh, okay, I'll try and make a note of some of them. You'll make your own, but at least you won't fail from mine. And maybe the final thing, this might be the last point of something that I wish I could go back and do. Celebrate the wins. Really, celebrate the wins. When you have a new best day of sales, write it on a calendar, make a note, or do a thing, or go out for tea, or it's so easy to just, this is what I do, and I hate it. I'll be like, right, we're launching a new pair of knee sleeves. We're bringing these pink leopard prints out. Great. They'll come out, they'll launch, we'll do a really good launch, they'll sell, and then rather than be like, wow, that went really well, here's what I'd do again, here's what I wouldn't, my mind just goes straight to, right, so we've launched them. It can be the same day, and already I'm like, right, what's that other product I need to do? Right, I'm moving on to this. And I sort of feel like the business is the water, and rather than swimming through it and being like, wow, this is great, I'm trying to go over it on a speedboat as fast as I can. And as much as, I think this is the tainted perspective of social media, where everyone's making $1 million a month, everyone's moving so fast, everyone's doubling in sales every quarter. And in reality, that's not a true reflection of business, or at least not in my life, not what I'm doing. And it's really hard not to compare yourself to others. Comparison is the thief of joy. It really is. So I find myself sometimes just looking at new people. I mean, like the guy who founded Gymshark with Ben Francis, called Lewis Morgan. I followed him for years, since Gymshark was around in 2012, and I used to be a big fan, not anymore, because they've kind of changed directions. And he just bought a LaFerrari. I don't know how much they cost. I'm guessing 3 or 4 million. And it's like, holy shit. What good is it me watching someone who sold their share of a business for 150 million, watching him buy things like LaFerraris? What good is that to me? That's as good as the dramatization. It's as good as not even being real, because it's got nothing to do with me at all. I don't look at that and be like, yeah, that'll be me one day. I look at that and I think, wow, I'm not really doing too good. And that's all it does. So that's why I don't use social media. I use it to post, I use it to spread the word of the business, but I'm not really a browser, because the comparison, I find myself comparing to others constantly, and I hate it, and it gets me down. And we don't want that. We want to be up. That's just a handful of things that might really help. A smart man learns from his mistakes. A wise man learns from other people's mistakes. So the more learning you can do, the better. The more you learn, the more you earn. Knowledge is power, all that shite, you know. Anyway, so that's just a quick summary, and hopefully I can save you some money and headaches.